All right. We're live. We're rolling.
All right.
So welcome everybody to another episode of Spirits in the Material World. And I am super excited today to introduce to you Kirk Smothers. Kirk is actually, he doesn't know this, but he's actually the persona of why this podcast even started. We really try to bring out all the special tapestry of the Delta area, Memphis. And a lot of that, honestly, is music. There's culture, there's arts, there's food, but I come from the perspective of music. I would rather just do this all day and carry your bags around, unpack stuff for you, and just listen to music. I'm really excited about this. And with us, I think, is somebody who's going to make sure that we don't do anything wrong today.
Or say anything out of line.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's Kirk's sister, Tracy Stevens, who I am lucky enough to work with. So Tracy's waving. She's not speaking, but she's here, and she'll kick us under the table if we go off the reservation a little bit or whatever.
Tell us what to take out.
Right. So Kirk, like I was saying, there's so much culture here and music here. I always reflect back to why I did this, and a lot of it had to do with my mom's side of the family came here from County Cork, Ireland, back in the late 19th century, just before the yellow fever.
To Memphis.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
And
That's a long time, yeah.
My grandmother wrote a genealogy. It's huge. It's a book. And, I read that a lot. And I just really started getting into what Memphis was all about in the greater Delta area. And I just love music. So it just kind of worked out. And, when I looked around, there wasn't a lot of similar, I guess, podcasts. I'm sure they're probably speaking a little data here. There might be that now, but when I was thinking about doing this 2 or 3 years ago, there wasn't. And I'm like, well, I don't really necessarily know a lot of artists and musicians, but it certainly would be fascinating to bring these stories to life.
They're not hard to meet. They're everywhere.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is fascinating. And you're a perfect example, and you're very hard to find, by the way. I've never met somebody around my age that has zero digital footprint. Tell me about that. Is this because you're just so into what you're doing and you just don't care?
No, I'm just not a fan of social media.
Right.
In the very beginning, when they started Facebook and everybody jumped on there, I just didn't want to do it, because I felt like, what am I going to do? Resurrect a bunch of old friendships that have been dead for 40 years? They've been dead for 40 years for a reason, so let's just leave it.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, right. So I didn't jump on. And then I did get on one of them, and I kind of enjoyed it until it went off the rails. So,
Which I think a lot of them do.
Yeah, that seems that way.
It's probably a good thing.
I don't know if it's a good or bad, but it hasn't. Let me just say this. If I felt like I needed to be on these things for my career, I would be.
Right. That's a good point.
But I haven't needed to be on these things for my career. So that's why I haven't done it.
That is exactly why I'm down to one.
Yeah.
Because I used to. Or I probably, if my partner was here, she'd tell you that I probably need to be on more than one.
Right.
But I was all over the place. And I woke up one day and I'm like, I'm taking it back. Taking myself back.
Yeah.
I don't, and I like it.
Yeah. I'm just used to it now. The only thing the negative thing for me is not being on is a lot of times I don't hear about people who have passed away or something has gone bad or something has happened that I would like to know about, people that I like and who are friends of mine and friends in the business and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, his funeral was last Friday. You know what I mean? That's the negative for me.
Right.
But enough of my friends know that I'm not on social media that I'll get a text. You know what I mean? Like, hey, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Fair enough. Well, enough about dead people.
All right. Yeah.
I would love to, we're not going to get everything in today, first of all.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it would be great for a lot of people who don't know you.
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
There's plenty. We just covered that and are going to be completely shocked and surprised and super stoked when they hear what you've accomplished and how you've done it and just the span of it all. And I know just before we got on, you were mentioning how it's kind of cool to really talk about the business from more of a perspective of not in the spotlight all the time, not up on stage all the time, not glamorous all the time, but really putting the work in and what it takes to be a musician.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. Yeah.
So take us, let's start with Little Kirk. At some
Oh.
point, little Kirk uh,
Little Kirk, yeah.
must have figured out that music might be the thing for me.
Well, little Kirk was just like a lot of every other kid in his generation, tried everything, played sports, did everything else, and was, just a little guy. I wasn't any good at anything like that. I didn't have the size or anything like that to be a football player or a baseball player, anything like that. And then so they came in sixth grade, I think, and gave us like a musical aptitude test. And apparently I did okay. So they said, "Hey, do you want to be in the band?" Yes, I'll be in the band. Right. So seventh grade, they come in there. Well, actually, before I started in band, my grandmother in July 5th of 1976 took us to the Elvis concert. I don't think you were there. You were there?
Was 5 years old.
You were 5?
I was 4 actually, but I remember it.
Wow. Okay. So anyway, my grandmother took us, apparently all of us, to this Elvis concert. And that was right before I started school, like a month later, playing band, right? And so here this Elvis concert is, and you were how old? Sorry, we should get Tracy a mic. Um, so yeah, I was 13. That's right. I was turning 13 because, and then starting school. So that left quite an impression on me. You know what I mean? To see that band up there.
Where was this?
That was at the Mid-South Coliseum.
Wow.
July 5th, 1976. And, that was huge because, I mean, they had that big band up there with all the horns, and I can't remember if they had strings at this one, but it was massive. I mean, percussion, timpani, male background singers, female background singers. It must have been 25 people on stage, you know,
So you said 76?
July
So
5th.
this was a year before he passed.
That's a year before he passed, and it's the last show he played in Memphis. He had another
Oh.
one scheduled
Okay.
during the month that he died at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I think they probably already sold tickets to it. Might have been sold out even. But, yeah, and it was also the day after the bicentennial.
Yeah. Sure was.
Yeah. So that's the beginning, and then I started playing music, and the reason I stuck with it was because it was the first thing I was good at. So I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm first. Okay." And then I won, like, a regional competition in 8th grade, and then I was like, "Oh, wow, I'm first in this whole area."
At first at what, by the way?
First chair, you know what I mean?
Okay. And what were you playing or what were you doing?
Saxophone.
Saxophone. Okay.
Right.
So this is a saxophone. All
That's when
right.
I started saxophone in
All right.
7th grade. And then so that's when I realized, "Oh, this is probably something I should work on." So I started working on it, and I got really lucky because we lived in a district for an art school in our neighborhood. So I went to the art school, and so there were many people that were into it and dedicated to it, and we had, like, an award-winning band, and I kept winning competitions in high school and stuff like that, and so then I went to college, and it didn't last long in college before I stepped back and started doing some other things and moved away a little bit and I was still playing the whole time, but then I went back to college later too after that.
Got it. Okay. So they asked you want to be in a band and you didn't say, yeah, Rolling Stones, that would be good.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. You just have to make a lot of contacts, you know what I mean? And that's really the name of the game, and name of the game in so many businesses, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not,
Relationships.
man, you gotta have a lot of friends.
Relationships.
And a lot of friends who like you and a lot of friends who trust you and know that you will show up prepared, on time, do the
And
job.
deliver.
Yeah,
Right.
that's really everything in this business, and not be, drunk or high, because that seems to be a big problem in this industry.
Yeah. All the way back.
Yeah.
Some people would say that's what's cool about rock and roll, right?
Yeah, until you live it.
Until you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or don't.
Yeah, I mean, half of those guys are gone,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
yeah.
half of them are really lucky
Very lucky.
to still be here.
So in school, did you develop a lot of those relationships with your
That's probably
friends
not
and stuff?
really. I can't think of more than one guy from that time period that I'm still communicate with about music,
Okay.
and he was on the margins of it for a long time. He had another job and all kinds of things like that, which is, but the first really gig I had was straight out of high school. There was a place in Memphis called Liberty Land, and they were auditioning. And so I went to and auditioned at Liberty Land, and I won the audition. And I just kinda got lucky because it ended up being that, like, it was the first year that Kirk Whalum, who's from Memphis. Do you know Kirk?
No.
He's be a good guy for you to interview. Anyway, super nice guy. But he had moved down to Houston to go to college, and he's 5 years ahead of me, but an amazing sax. and famous saxophone player. I mean, one of the most famous saxophone players. But anyway, he lives in Memphis now again. But at the time, he had moved to Houston, and he had been playing at Liberty Land every summer because it was a good job. So I landed that job, so it was my first, like, real, like, I'm making money playing music job. I mean, real money,
Right.
right? Because this is 1981. I think I was bringing in, like, $350 a week, and man, let me tell you what, in 1981, that was a lot of money for just playing the saxophone,
Right.
and then I could work other gigs at
Doing
night
something you
on top
love.
of that. Yeah, it was just, wow, okay, cool. But then, of course, that was one and done on that because I thought I was cool, and I thought I was gonna be,
Uh-oh.
it's Liberty Land,
And so
it's
for
not
those that
exactly.
don't know, what's Liberty Land?
Liberty Land was an amusement park in Memphis from, I guess, back in the '70s through the '80s.
Okay.
And they had, like the bunch of rides and stuff
Sure.
there, and then they had some live entertainment there. They had 2 little spots. One, they had like a country act, and one they did like an Americana act. And when I say not really Americana as Americana is today, Americana is a whole genre now, you know, but more of a patriotic show,
Okay.
like singing and dancing and,
Yeah.
you're a grand old flag and you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Anyway. But that was my first, like, real gig. But, of course, I thought, "Oh, Liberty Land, this is not, my destination."
I'm too big for this.
I thought that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But in hindsight, it was a great
That
job.
was a great gig.
Yeah.
And is that where you met Kirk?
No, I met Kirk much later.
Oh, okay.
Much, much later because he was already gone. Kirk was a star, celebrity, but when I met him, by the time I met him.
Okay.
Because he moved away, he went to Paris, and he lived in Paris for 8 or 9 years with his wife, Ruby, and he was playing with, Whitney Houston.
Oh, okay.
I mean, come on.
So he was doing good.
Yeah, he played on the most famous song of all time. Her remake of yeah, "I Will Always Love You," Dolly Parton song.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
That helps the resume.
Yeah, that little yeah, he's never had any problems with his resume.
I want to kind of get a little, I guess, I don't know, geeky about the saxophone.
Okay.
So when you first, I'm going to go back just a little bit
Yeah.
to when you first got into music. Did you try other instruments and you gravitated and fell in love with the saxophone, or was it like the first thing you picked up?
It was the first thing I picked up.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, and I have no idea why.
So it's just you looked at it and you went, let me try
Well,
this.
yeah, when you started school back then, you didn't have to, like, go rent an instrument or anything like that. They literally had the instruments, like, there, and they would be open in case, "Which one do you wanna play?" And I was like, "I wanna play that one."
Really?
And I guess I was quick enough to the draw that the guy
Wow.
said, "Yeah, okay, that's you." And then so I did play trumpet a year later or 2, you know what I mean? But I never was that good at trumpet. And, I can play piano and I can,
Can you read music and
pick
all
a
that?
few chords on guitar. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a given.
Well, it should be if you're gonna be a horn player.
Yeah.
If you can't read music, as a horn player, you're gonna really be behind the 8 ball.
Have a hard time.
You're gonna miss out on a lot of work
Yeah. I get it.
because a lot of the work that well, not a lot of the work, but some of the work that I do is just flat showing up and
Reading the music.
reading the music cold. Yeah.
Really.
Sometimes with a rehearsal, sometimes no rehearsal, yeah.
And just feeling it.
Sometimes you get it beforehand, you get a chance to look at it and a chance to practice, but yeah, you gotta be able to
Wow.
take the notes off the page and bring them alive.
Bring them alive. That is
Mhm.
amazing. Okay.
It's a whole different what's the word I'm looking for? It's a it's hard to do because not everybody has the talent to take notes on a page and turn them into music. A lot of people can do it without looking at the music if you're, just immersed in the sound and the music and stuff like that. But being able to take it off of a page and interpret it in that moment is a different art form. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah.
a lot of guys can read a page of music, and it would sound like a math problem, kinda,
Okay.
not sound like music, if
Right.
that makes sense.
So what I'm hearing, like, and I tinkle around a little bit with the guitar, but I would never say that in public because when you're on a guitar, right? There's different ways. There's nuances. Maybe that's like you can bend, you can,
That's right.
there's just different ways you can hit a note, and
That's right.
and maybe that's what you're
Yeah, and you're looking at the music, and you're kind of interpreting the music,
right,
and, you don't always win, sometimes you
right,
misinterpret, but you're looking at it, it's kind of like written word, Like when you read a sentence, you kinda know where the inflection is, you know where and a lot of times in the music is notated where the inflections are
Okay.
and how you're supposed to play this loud, soft, build it up, bring it down,
Cut it
all
off.
that stuff's notated in the part.
That's where I was
A
going to
lot of
ask you.
times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that next. Just to do it cold turkey, and never like you've literally gone up and played a song you've never heard before.
Yes.
See, that to me, it's just mind blowing.
It can be challenging, but sometimes it's really easy
Yeah.
because not all music is hard.
Right.
I mean, for me,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. No, that
And
gets it.
some music is just like especially, as growing up in Memphis and living in Memphis and being immersed in Memphis music for so long, those Memphis-y licks, when you see them on the page, there's really kinda only one way to play it,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's just like, "Okay, ba-da-ba," you know,
Here we go.
there we go.
So, picked up the saxophone. You liked it. You looked at it. It was like destiny called you right there. What does it take to play the saxophone?
Mm, well, takes a lot of air,
Like
and
literally, you got to
yeah.
have some lungs.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It takes a lot of air, and it's not the most difficult instrument to learn, I don't think, clarinet and oboe, I think, are much harder because the fingerings are not that hard once you learn them and stuff like that, but it's physical. It's very physical.
Very physical. So, guitar has 6 strings, 12 notes.
Guitar is a
You look down at
cakewalk.
cakewalk. Compare. So you look down at a saxophone with all these whatever they are.
Yeah, the keys are not the problem.
The keys are there. It's just it's the translation. The notes are there.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's only one way to play 'em, and it comes from
You dive.
your diaphragm up through your wide open throat, through your setup, into your horn, and you know what I mean?
Wow.
And so, yeah, I always make fun of guitar players and keyboard players, you know what I mean? Because it's so little physical effort, you know what I mean? Playing the saxophone is more like almost like being a drummer, you know what I mean? Except a drummer is physical with his limbs, and I'm physical from the inside,
From the inside. Right.
like a singer,
Right.
more like a singer, you know?
Well, and I guess I mean, if I had a head cold and sinuses or a cough, I could still play the guitar.
Well, yeah, I mean, these muscles right here are
You-
not
You're not doing the
not that
saxophone.
big of a deal. You know what I mean? This right here, I'm sorry.
Right.
Long as you can stay away from the arthritis, you know what I mean?
Right. That's fascinating. What kind of so when you started, what genre did you gravitate
Oh,
towards?
I was totally jazz nerd, you know what I mean?
Really?
Total
Okay.
jazz nerd. Everything else sucked. I was a kid, stupid kid, you know? It took me a long time to appreciate other kinds of music, well into my 20s before I lost my snobbery.
Oh, really? So to tell us who did you idol?
Back in the day, we were kids, it was like Charlie Parker,
Right.
this, Charlie Parker that, Dexter Gordon this, Dexter Gordon that, that whole, Dizzy Gillespie, the whole crew, because, this is 1976, 77, 78, 79, so the guys that had been hip in the 40s were still cool.
Right.
They're still cool,
Yeah.
even in 2025, but, you know, it was not that far away that we were like, that was it, Even though, the '60s whole, jazz movement in the '60s had already come along and kind of changed everything, John Coltrane and Miles Davis and all that. Even though Miles Davis came and so did Coltrane, came from the early bebop stuff, but, I was a total jazz nerd.
Okay. So snapped out of it in your 20s.
Yeah, kinda came around. I don't know how or remember how. I just kinda think I finally realized, like, "Wait a minute, if I wanna make money and support myself,
A little bit.
there needs to be some more stuff going on here." Yeah, so, I started, just accepting that other music is good and listening to it in a different way with a more open mind yeah, just grew up, that's all. It's just
It is
just
kinda
growing up.
I thought you were gonna say you heard Quarter Flash, Harden My Heart, and that was it.
Eh, that's an okay song. I would play that song. I think there is a sax solo in that song in there.
Yeah, that came to my mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally random, but
I could learn
I think
that.
it's such a romantic and sexy.
People say that.
It really I mean,
It isn't to me.
but it's not to you, right?
Well, no, it's just the instrument I play. You know, I work very hard on sounding a certain way, sounding the way that I sound. A lot of people, I'm not gonna say miss that part of it, but to me, it's the most important part because without a tone, it doesn't matter what notes you play because it has to be a pleasing sound. Or even if it's not a pleasing sound, an angry sound or a melancholy sound or a whatever sound, I really believe that tone is the most important thing for an instrumentalist and a singer and even guitar players.
Yeah.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Some of the most famous guitar players have such a distinctive tone. You
Yeah.
know right away when you hear John Scofield. You know that's John Scofield.
Yeah.
You know when you hear Pat Metheny. You know when you hear George Benson. 3 notes, George Benson, you know?
It's true.
And I think that people sometimes musicians miss the boat on that, and they don't realize how important that is for people to be able to go, "That's so and so," you know? "Oh, yeah, immediately, so and so." So I have worked really hard on developing what I think is my sound,
Your
you know?
tone. So let me ask you a little bit about that because when we hear our own voice, we typically don't hear what like you guys are hearing my voice right now, but I guarantee you it's different than what I'm hearing. So how do you like I don't even know how to ask this. How did you find your tone? Like what how did you know what your tone was?
Yeah, it's hard. You borrow from a lot of people. So it's like I think the best musicians that I know started out as mimics. You know what I mean? You have to start by, um
Jimi Hendrix, I'm gonna try to do what he does.
right, right. But if you try to do Jimi Hendrix for 10 years, eventually you're gonna turn around and go, "Oh, wait a minute, I've added this, this, and this, and this, and this." So now the part that I like about Jimi Hendrix, um, doesn't sound or like Jimi Hendrix anymore, it sounds like me.
Ah,
Because I've taken that, I've borrowed that, and so for me, it's a series of borrowing, like this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy, a piece here, a piece there, a piece
wow.
there, you know what I mean? And, notes matter too because you can play too many notes, you can play too few notes, you can not play the right notes, you can play notes at the wrong time, you can, like a lot of very famous musicians will say, "The best notes I play, you didn't hear."
You didn't hear.
'Cause I didn't play them, because I
Wow.
knew when to shut up, you know what I mean? Because sometimes music just needs space,
I resonate with that. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Sometimes it needs to breathe, and sometimes if you add too much, it never breathes. It's just, but sometimes music is like that, sometimes music is frenetic on purpose. A movie soundtrack, a movie score, you know, it's all you don't even know it's there, but it's setting the mood.
Right.
Sometimes it's nice and relaxed, sometimes it's chilled, sometimes it's jazzy, sometimes it's rock, sometimes it's a car chase, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So music can be,
I that's great explanation. Um, I was just thinking about some analogies that for me anyways, like I love like what I could listen to Tedeschi Trucks and then
about
but then if you go over to somebody who's gosh, I guess maybe equally as talented and famous, Bonamassa, he his style's just to me, and this is not a knock, it's just not my style. Like he's screaming at me.
uh,
You know what I mean? It's too
yeah,
much.
no subtlety there, yeah.
It's too much. I like
You're not feeling the subtlety, yeah.
yeah, it's just like, whoa.
Well, yeah, I hear you. Well, one song, oh man, what's the name of that song that they do? I hear it all the time with her and him. He's such an amazing slide player. I mean, come on. He's probably the best blues slide player alive, you know? Dirt trucks, so that's a
Yeah,
good
he's
one. It's a good
something else.
combination, and her voice, I mean, come on.
It's I think they were recently on NPR Music, of all things. They do this little thing on YouTube, Tiny Desk.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't I just stumbled on it,
Oh, really?
and they were on there.
That doesn't surprise me
Yeah,
'cause
they were on there, and, I was like, "Wow." I just love them.
yeah,
They're great.
they're amazing. I wish I could think of the name of this song that I really like, but I can't.
So what'd you go after you determined that you were too good for the fair?
Yeah, right, right, right. Oh, I started bouncing around, playing with different bands and stuff, and then I got in this, like, kinda punk band, and we moved out to California for a little bit, and so
Really?
husband and wife in the band, and they ended up getting pregnant, and they came back, so they left me out there by myself, and the truth of the matter is, at the time, I wasn't working. I was probably 24 years old. I was like playing on the street corners and stuff like that, hustling money and, busking. And I couldn't make enough money to get by. I did have a job too. I was working at like some restaurant or something, a really great restaurant in Oakland, California, the Oakland Grill, which I think is closed now. But so, yeah, I just couldn't afford to stay
Yeah.
because this is 1984 or something. And the rent was like 750, which
In 84?
seemed like an absolute fortune.
Wow.
So it's probably, I don't know, equivalent of what, 2,500, 3 grand now or
Yeah.
something. So anyway, yeah, so that sent me back home with my tail between my legs, and I just started working on building relationships with people. And I kind of started at that point by playing in a lot of like wedding bands and corporate bands and things like that.
Okay. I'm still I'm still trying to wrap my head around a punk band that has a saxophone player.
Yeah, it's a punk band with a sax player.
That's it. That's great. Because I, I grew up, in Southern California,
Uh-huh.
and, around 82, 83 was, TSOL, Fear, The Germs, all those bands were playing at the San Bernardino Palladium and all these different places, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around a saxophone player up
Yeah,
there.
in
That's
a
pretty
punk
cool.
band, yeah,
In a punk band. That's
yeah.
pretty cool. Right on.
But anyway, that was the end of that, of course,
Okay.
because they had that child, and then I was like, "Man, I gotta go in a different direction here. I need to work on me as a musician."
Right.
And that's when the period when I went back to school and started playing with some other people and got a break playing with this guy, Kevin Page, who at the time had a record deal and was kinda big locally, and spent a lot of years playing with him and doing a lot of different kinda dates with him. But he's an amazing musician and a good friend. But, he kinda started me off in that direction, and then it just seemed like, just doors started opening one after the other after that, this guy, that guy, you know, this session, that session, and then all of a
So
sudden.
you're putting in the work, you're just finding yourself, sound.
Yeah,
You're doing session work or gigs?
yeah, mhm, so that's kinda when it started, yeah. That was around, probably 1989 or something like that. Ever since then, I've been full on. I've only made money playing music.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Wow. So is that back then the period when it just clicked? It started. Did you feel it? Did you know?
No, mm-mm. I
You
just
just going to
started
work every day?
I just started getting more calls. The phone just started ringing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you don't get anywhere by sitting on the couch. So you go work, and you go network even sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yep. Awesome. So what kind of music were you into then?
Everything. By then I didn't care.
Okay. So was it more of it's a gig,
Yes, it was what does it
making a
pay?
living?
What does it pay?
Uh,
Exactly.
What do you like?
Oh, that's a tough one because I really like all kinds of music. I mean, even the stuff you're talking about here to, Susan Tedeschi and all that, you know what I mean? I love that stuff, because she's amazing. But I love all kinds of music. I like jazz music. I'm not a fan of country music, but I don't hate country music or
Mhm.
dislike country music or have a grudge against any kind of musician because I've been doing this long enough that I know there's a place for all of us, in this big, huge tent that's music. There's so many different people, so many different kind of people, so many people with so many different talent levels and so many different talents. I mean, even amongst my friends, my personal friends, I got guys that, write, guys that own studios, Boo, who you've interviewed before, guys that produce records like Boo, guys that write scores for movies and television, guys that are songwriters, guys that are arrangers, guys that just play gigs for a living, guys that tour the world. They're never home. You know what I mean? Some of my friends,
Right.
you know?
Girls too.
Huh?
Females too.
Oh, yeah, girls too, yeah. My sister reminds me girls too, but yeah, of course I have a lot of girlfriends too, in the music business, yeah. But, anyway, I'm off track now.
That's okay.
What were we
That's what we do.
what were we talking about? Oh, no, I was just explaining how many different ways there are to make a living in the
Right.
business, you know what I mean? And you kinda gotta uh, a lot of people specialize, right?
Okay.
They'll pick a thing. "Okay, I'm a songwriter. I'm a good songwriter." And they do it, you know what I mean? And they stay to that. A lot of guys I guess you would call me kinda specialized, because I'm really, as far as making money, I make my money playing the saxophone.
Okay.
So whether that's doing recording sessions, playing club dates, playing bars, playing concerts, weddings sometimes, playing private events, things like that. That's how I make my money. I make some back end money off of some of the projects I do, but most of my money is, make it week to week.
Just out there performing
Yeah,
and playing.
most of it. And recording.
What's your favorite place to play live?
I don't know, Paris?
Nice. Let's just start there.
I've played there a few times, yeah. I've played there's a club, there that brings in a lot of, American acts called, New Morning, and I've played that, I think, 3 times. And then we also played a really nice festival there once, with this guy, Don Bryant, who just recently passed, who's the husband of Ann Peoples. We were touring with the Bokeys with Don Bryant for quite a few years, and we did quite a few trips to Europe, and, we played a festival in Paris called, Jazz à la Ville, and that's a big train station, a big train depot that's been repurposed. So it's not a train station anymore, but it's massive. There's room for at least 20 tracks in there, you know? So there were about 20,000 people in there. And so we played a show there and it was good. You can find that one on YouTube if you want to look that up. It's
Okay.
called Don Bryant and the Bokeys at Jazz à la Ville. That's on YouTube. And it's a very good video.
Well, it just sounds like it
Audio
too.
too.
Yeah.
Audio's good too.
Very cool. Where else in Europe have you played?
Oh God, everywhere.
Really?
I've been
You're
to
being humble. You're being very humble.
No, I've played in Croatia, I've played in, Serbia, I've played in, Italy, of course, many times. I've played in Austria, I've played in Switzerland, I've played in Poland, I've played
Wow.
in Germany, I've played in France, I've played in Spain, I've played in the UK, the Czech Republic, Canary Islands, which is part of Spain.
That's where my father's from.
Really? You're kidding me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an odd place to be from.
His whole family's from there. In fact,
That is a very unusual place to be from.
when they came, they went to San Antonio. I want to get back to Europe.
Yeah.
They came to San Antonio and they have a Canary Island. It's not a foundation, a society in San Antonio. And I've reached out to them and it's strict. I need to be able to somehow prove he's not with us anymore.
Yeah,
I
you
need
could
to be
get
able to somehow
citizenship.
prove
Yeah,
and I get citizenship.
you could get yeah, which is a valuable document.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's a musician just got one. His sister did all the legwork, but, they have an Italian ancestry, and so he got an Italian, EU passport, which he's very proud of, and he should be, and I'm very jealous of.
Right. Right. So it sounds like you've touched a lot of bases in your. Who treated you the best?
Oh, it's a good
Put you
question.
on the spot.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's different everywhere you go. I like the food in Italy a lot.
Oh yeah.
The people in France really, really like soul music. I
Yeah.
mean, really, really. Italy too, but France seems to be more of a hotbed of the kind of music that we play in Memphis.
Got it.
Germany, nice people, but they're really kind of rockheads.
Yeah. I can
You
see
know what
that.
I mean? They're not a big fan base there. So, for unless you're, banging heads and
Rammstein.
and yeah,
Yeah.
slamming guitars.
Yeah, I get that.
And
A lot of the Scandinavians, even further north, are that way.
agreed, but we have played up there. We've played in Switzerland to a nice reception. I mean, I'm sorry, Sweden to a nice reception, and we've also played in Norway to a very nice
Very
reception
cool.
too. We've been there.
Very cool.
We played a thing at I guess it was a festival that we did at the O2 in London, but not in the big room. They had a country music festival. It seems like going in the big room, and then like there's a nightclub there, and we played there. And then I think we went from there to Oslo and played a gig at a really cool club in Oslo.
Wow.
I think I can't remember if that was a long run or a short run.
Now, when you're talking about playing there, do you have a band?
Well, a lot of these are with a lot of the things I'm talking about now are with a specific band called the Bokeys.
Okay.
And the Bokeys, I guess technically still are a band. It's Scott Bomar's band and Mark Franklin. They started that band together. And Mark's a guy that I play a lot of gigs with. He's a trumpet player. And anyway, eventually I joined that band. And then we made a couple of records with Don Bryant, and one of them was nominated for Grammy. And then we started touring a lot with that band. So a lot of these places I'm talking about, I've been to with Scott Bomar and the Bokeys.
Very cool.
And Scott is also a good friend, and Scott does a lot of other projects that I'm involved in a lot too. Like he scored the music and did all the soundtrack for this Song Sung Blue movie, which is out right now
Yeah, yeah.
with Kate Hudson and
The Australian guy, what's his name?
yeah,
Wolverine.
Jackman,
Hugh
Hugh
Jackman.
Jackman. There you go. Right. So, so we cut all that music here in Memphis
Wow, where?
at a Phillips recording studio. You know where that one is?
No.
It's over on. So when Sam Phillips left,
Yeah.
um, what was called Memphis Recording Services, which they call Sun Studios now incorrectly. It was always Memphis Recording Services, and Sun was the label. So it's misjudged, in my opinion, but that's for another day. So I think he lost his lease or something. So he went around the corner. He already had the label Sun label, right? He'd had the Sun label for a long time, many, many years. So he went around the corner and built his own studio there on Madison Avenue, which is literally a stone's throw from what they call Sun Studio.
Right.
And it's been in operation ever since. Started in the early 60s, I guess, or something, somewhere in that
Very
range.
cool.
And it's a very nice studio. They've recently restored it, the recording area and stuff like that. So
Uh-huh.
it's just really great. And the upstairs is like a museum because it hasn't really been
Oh, I can
touched.
imagine.
So Sam Phillips' office is still like it was 1960, whatever. And, Elvis and them used to come up there all the time when they'd be in town because there's a big open room up there. They would have parties. There's a bar up there and everything. It's really cool.
Nice.
Anyway, it's still operating today.
Okay. Very cool. So let's talk. I want to get your perspective on being a musician,
Okay.
earning a living versus what probably most of us know is just we hear something or we see something on TV and it just seems so glamorous.
It's not glamorous most of the time, but yes, it's hard work to make a living as a musician, and you have to be willing to do a lot of things. Sometimes things you're not really interested in doing or don't want to do or something like that. The older you get, the more you can maybe be a little more selective and just say no to things and for a multitude of reasons. But you just kind of have to do everything. Like I said, I have so many friends who make a living so many different ways. Some make it off of residual checks, writing songs and stuff like that. But for me, the direction that I've gone in my life, it's hustling, it's playing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I play 7, 8, 10 gigs a week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that's a normal week.
That's a normal week.
Normal week.
Wow. Okay. And that's all over, different places, different
All
spots?
over. Yeah. I'll have I start the week with 4 gigs at BB King's. I start the gig with 1 gig over across the street at Blue City. I start the week with a church gig. And so from there,
Right.
if anything else that comes in, like recording sessions and gigs, sometimes you'll have 2 on Sunday. Sometimes you'll have 2 on Saturday. Sometimes you'll have 2 on Friday. You know what I mean? Used to be, it's less common than it used to be because, a lot of the nightclubs I play at on Beale Street or I've played at on Beale Street, used to start really late and go really late. So, that used to free up the early part of your night.
Uh-huh.
So those little 7 to 10 gigs or 6 to 9 gigs you could make, you could go play a little, jazz bar or whatever, and then make your late night gig and too, but since the, pandemic, the hours are very different down here.
Got it.
And I'm not mad.
It works
This
out. You get
well, I'm
older, you're like,
62 years
yeah,
old
you get
now.
older and
I don't wanna be up to 3 in the morning anymore. That was no fun even when I wasn't old, or
Right.
'cause, many nights I would get home 3:30 in the morning, I mean, you get home at 3:30 in the morning, you gotta sleep till noon just to be functional for the
Right.
next day. But a lot of times you'd have get home at 3:30 in the morning and have a session at noon, you know?
Over the years, right?
Yeah.
You've had, I'm not going to count them up, but you've had multiple decades of Beale Street.
Oh, god, yeah, almost 40 years. 40 years this year.
Congratulations.
40 years I've been playing. I started playing on Beale Street in 1986 at a little bitty tiny club. It's where I met my wife. It was called Lafayette's, but it was, a little bitty shotgun dive bar, and it was just me and a guitar player. He was a singer, blues guy, Bruce Biles, and, I think those were the first gigs I played on Beale Street. I could be wrong. I might have played something else at the Old Daisy or something like that, but I think that was, like, the first steady gig I had, and then I met my wife there one night, and then
How about that?
yeah, we've been married 36 years
36 years?
and together 39 years, so yeah.
Well, we have a lot in common.
Do we really?
April 14th will be 36 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're married in 90.
90.
Yeah, I was
That's why
married
that's why I
married
always remember.
yeah, that's good. I'm married in 89, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you met her there.
Met at a bar, yeah. I was
Like, how
playing.
does that happen? You're up on stage and you're like, oh,
We had like 4 mutual friends there,
oh, okay.
and everybody was introducing us. Like, "Have you met Tedra?" "Well, yeah, like 5 minutes ago." "Have you met Tedra?" "Yeah, you're the 4th person."
How
"Thank
about
you.
that?
She's nice."
You got the hint.
"Yeah, okay, you guys want us to talk? We'll talk." "Okay."
That's
So we
cool.
talked, yeah. We talked all night, actually, you know?
Very
We
cool.
went out to that was back in the day when you could go to the, what's the little restaurant over there that, where they cut that movie and all that stuff over there on Main Street? Um,
Arcade?
where yeah, the arcade. You could go to arcade at ungodly hours because they were open 24 hours a day. So we went there after that gig and stayed up all night long.
So over the 40 years or so of going to Beale Street, what were the good years? What were the bad years? What, for those
It's
that have never been to Beale Street and you want to talk about the history of Beale Street, what would you say?
sure. Um, in the early days of Bill Street, there were not very many clubs down there. There weren't very many places to go. And I was working at a place with Kevin Page called Alfred's. And being that it was one of the only places down there besides like Rum Boogie across the street, and Rum Boogie had a bunch of older guys playing blues and stuff like that. It was more of a blues club, right?
Got it.
It was a blues club. And we were playing pop music and we had like a really young band and playing, really kind of modernish music, I guess, at the time. Anyway, so we were packed. I mean, I can't even describe it to you. There would be a line around the building all the way down the street every Friday and Saturday. We would play to at least 1,000 people every night,
Really?
coming and going, yeah, and the place probably only holds 350, you know?
So the pop music back then, give us a couple examples of what you're talking
Mm.
about.
Yeah, we weren't trying to stay too current, we would do things like Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind& and Fire,
Got it.
Peter Gabriel,
Yep.
things like that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Things that were more kind of from the time period we grew up, because all the guys in that band are real nostalgic about the music from the '60s and the '70s
Right.
that we grew up with that we all love, And then, since then, it's changed dramatically because at that time, Memphis really wasn't a tourist destination. You know what I mean? The only thing we
Yeah.
had going then was Graceland was kinda just getting started, and at the and I don't know if you know this, but when Graceland first got started, there was nothing but just a house. It was just a house. I'm not sure when the last time you've been on the tour is.
Every year.
Yeah. So I went recently because we had family come in town, and it's, just mind-blowing what they've done over there
Yeah.
in that new area where they have all the costumes and everything like that
Yeah.
that they just finished. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Just crazy. So at the time, there wasn't really much of a tourist industry here, and you gotta give them all the people credit for that, Kevin Kane and all those guys and all the, museums that came up, because so it was all locals, okay? And I mean, when I say locals, I mean kinda kids, college kids, right? Because college kids, this is at the time when, like, the Highland out area was kinda not much happening. This is before Overton Square got popping again and things like that. So, it was kinda the only spot to go to, man, and it was just packed all the time. And then things changed and, other things opened up and we opened up all these museums, like the Civil Rights Museum came around and the Stax Museum came around and the Sun Studios opened up, started doing tours and things like that. And then Graceland got bigger and bigger and bigger and started really taking advantage of everything, you know what I mean? Every marketing tool they could pull out, and that started bringing tourists in. So then Beale Street started becoming more of a tourist destination. And I would go as far as to say now, 2026, 40 years later, it's 95% tourists.
Yeah.
And I would say of all the tourists, more than half from other countries.
Oh, really?
Any given night, you can walk up to any table. Where you from? Spain. Where you from? England. Where you from? Australia. Where you from? New Zealand. Where you from? Japan.
Really?
They're all over. So now it's most of the audiences are just tourists.
And that's something. So those New York Times articles really have an effect
Yeah.
internationally.
So that's who we play to now. You know what I mean? And they're great audiences. They're amazing,
Oh, they
amazing,
appreciate it.
amazing audiences. But that's how it's changed over the years. So it's gone through all these periods too of like being really, really crowded and crazy to where they've really just kind of put security down there and tamed it up a little bit, and stuff like that. So all the crazy stuff that used to happen on the street, and I don't mean crazy stuff like fighting and things like that. It just used to be, I would leave a nightclub at 2:40 in the morning and literally have to elbow my way through a crowd to get to my car at 2:40 a.m. But they cut all that stuff off and started making curfews and started doing everything like that because 10,000 people on the street aren't spending money. I mean, so they did have all those walk-up bars. They were making a little bit of money, it's not like nobody was making any money. But, the majority of them were just hanging out, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like a street party, you know? So that's all different now, and it's mainly tourists, but I have to say I really like where it is right now. I know it's not good for all the clubs down there because some of the clubs are not doing as well as some of the other clubs, and I know that that's not great for them because they really made a lot of money off of the, local people, you know?
Right.
And, a lot of the local people now are, there's so many the news is so scary and so frightening. First thing they wanna talk about is somebody got shot on Beale Street. Somebody got shot on Beale Street at 4 AM. Why are you on Beale Street at 4 AM?
Right.
Nobody's gonna be on Beale Street at 4 AM.
Right.
Where you live, you're gonna come down to Beale Street, you're gonna be home by midnight,
Yep.
right? So, there's no trouble down there at anything in in that time range. There's police everywhere. It's so safe. But, the news likes to focus on
Crime all the time.
sensationalism. It's sensationalism. Tune in. Somebody got killed.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Well, of course you're gonna tune in. Who got killed? Where'd they get killed?
Yeah.
In my neighborhood? In my backyard? Whatever. Anyway,
It's unfortunate.
that's what it's but that's
But
what
there's
it's
also other places to go now that
Oh, you're totally right. And the city has grown so much.
Right.
There's so many more people here now. And there's so much diversity here now. And there's so
Right.
many more options for music and for food and for everything like that. There's so much to do. It's amazing. But we kind of got a lock on the tourists. We
It
got
sounds
that
like
going.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what it would take to get more locals
I don't know.
down there. And I don't
I've-
know if it's
I've often
because of the
s-
other places to go now.
I don't know. I've often said that there's not enough positive things being said.
So
Like-
it's a PR issue.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think so. And I think in a way that they just need to, they just should be shouting it from the rooftops. Yeah, a month, no crime, no cars broken into. Let me tell you, like I said, I've been working there 40 years. I've never felt threatened. I've never been robbed. I've never even had my car broken into.
There you go.
That's me knocking on wood.
Right.
Never had my window busted, nothing.
Right.
So that's a testimony right there. Okay.
Do the crowds after the Grizzly games, do they stick around?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
That's good.
We do good. We do well after the Grizzly games. And before too. They come in.
Well, the first time you and I met was at BB King's. I don't remember what night it was. Like a Thursday night? It was a Monday. That's right. It was a Monday. It was a birthday party. And the place was packed. It was packed.
It's not unusual.
What's going on here?
Not unusual at all.
Which is just fantastic. So
Yeah, it is great for that club. That club does very well.
you mentioned some of the, obviously by name, but not all clubs are packed on Beale Street. Is there enough talent to fill those places to play?
Yes.
There is.
And,
Okay.
and they're trying, but when you have a low budget because you're not making a lot of money, it's hard
It's
to
hard.
get top-notch talent with
Yeah.
a low budget, for one thing. And dude, I think a lot of places just haven't pivoted, man. Okay, if tourism is the game,
Appeal to your audience.
man, why is nobody having an Elvis impersonator on the stage down there doing 2 dinner shows a night?
Right.
I'm sorry. Those people love that thing. That whole ETA thing
Yeah.
has taken off. It's got a life of its own now. These ETA artists are celebrated now. If I had a nightclub down there, I would be doing 2 seatings a night. We got a 6 o'clock show and we got an 8 o'clock show. I don't know. I just think some of the clubs haven't pivoted.
Right.
From the age of drunk young people to the age of we're a tourist destination now.
Right.
You got to pivot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about BB King's. Like what do you got going there? And How
Uh,
long you been doing it, and
yeah, not that long,
who you playing
really.
with?
I play with a band called the BB King All Star Band. It's a really great band. There's a lot of talent in the band. Very extremely
Right.
talented people. And we play 4 nights a week when everybody's around, but it's a really cool gig. They take care of us, and it's also good that we don't, if we can't be there, nobody's stressing us about,
Oh, that's cool.
if we got something else to do,
Right.
or something, maybe once in a while we do get to do glamorous things. And if I get to do something glamorous, they don't complain. But if I'm not there, you know what I mean? So that's very important too, and they treat us good. So it's a good gig. And I've been doing it just a few years, maybe 3 or 4 years since the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Because before that, I had other things going, and
So you just stick with it. You like it?
I'm good for
Yeah.
now.
Not to
Yeah,
put you on the spot.
I'm not going to say that
Well, we had a. I'm telling you,
if I have a
we
more
had
lucrative offer for some, I might have to consider it. I'm just like anyone else.
we had such a great time, and the music was so awesome.
It's a great,
Everybody was dancing.
it's a great atmosphere. They just recently remodeled it, and they did a great job because I was scared they were going to take the funk out of it or make it too clean. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it still kind of feels like a like a blues bar. You know what I mean? Like a blues club.
Like honky tonk a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just enough to where
Yeah.
it's like they left enough of that.
You got to have some old wood and some smell.
There you go. They saved the old wood. Yeah. So, but yeah, they did a really good job redoing that.
So, all right. So, who are some give me some good moments in your life where you're like, oh my God, I am sitting here playing next to this person.
Yeah.
There has to be probably
There's a lot.
more than you're probably not even allowed to talk about.
No, 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 no. All my NDAs have expired. But no, I mean, I've played on a record with Cyndi Lauper that was nominated for, a Grammy, and then she ended up being a really, really nice person.
That's great.
And she was very sweet. And her manager, who his name is escaping me right now, who I just saw on television the other day because Cyndi Lauper was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of
Rock and
Fame.
Roll Hall of Fame.
Right. And her manager was there with her, and her name is escaping me right now. But they're both really nice. We had a really great time meeting them. And so we went and played a gig. We played a gig at actually, this was unrelated to the BB King's band that I play in now. But we were out on the road, and we had a gig at the BB King's Club in Manhattan, which doesn't exist anymore, I think. But Cyndi Lauper came to the gig. She shows up to the gig.
How about that?
Her and her manager friend, who's I'm never gonna.
You just hit her a little text, said, "I'm in town. Why don't you come by?"
I don't remember how it went down. I'm not sure if I ever got her personal number or not, but she was really nice. I almost had her on the hook for coming to my house for dinner because apparently she loves pizza, and I'm a really good cook, and I like to make pizza. Right?
Oh,
and I
all
got
right.
like the whole setup. You know what I mean? Nice everything. So anyway, almost had her, almost, but anyway, it didn't work out. She didn't come over, but we had kind of almost even set a date and everything. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, she's one, and of course I've played on other records, like we played on that Melissa Etheridge record that she cut it at Royal. And I'm trying to think what else we've cut over at Royal. Oh, we played on now this wasn't like meeting anybody or anything like that, but we did play on the Silk Sonic record. We cut the horns at Royal Studio at Boo's place.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Boo mentioned that or not, but because Boo's got a lot of feathers in his cap.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
So,
and that's like walking into a time machine.
oh, you've been there.
That's where I did the episode.
Oh man.
I just I couldn't even get a word out of my mouth.
Right.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's unbelievable.
It literally is. Well,
I don't think it's changed.
You're awestruck. It hasn't changed.
That's what I told him. I go,
And it's funny because I take it for granted I'm there so much, right? And I always love hearing somebody's perspective who's seen it for the first time because you forget that you're in a temple. You know what
Literally.
I mean? You're in a temple of music.
He hasn't touched it.
It's a temple. It's exactly the same. Everything's in the same spot. All the microphones are the same. This is a microphone that so-and-so used. This is a microphone that so-and-so used. I'm like, dang, don't get rid of those mics.
Yeah, it was, that's a perfect way to put it. I was awestruck.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, put that in you.
And you just look
There's
around.
just Grammys sitting around, gold records and stuff, I mean, I was at Art Studio yesterday playing a session, and they've reopened it. And because, John Fry died, who used to own it and all that stuff like that. And a lot of the guys, it had kind of gone down because a lot of the guys that used to bring a lot of business in there had passed away or moved on to other things. But they've redone it. And I was walking around the halls and just noticing all the records, you know what I mean? Like, "Oh, yeah, I played on that one, played on that one." You know what I mean? There're just so many Grammy plaques in there that this was nominated, this was nominated. So, yeah, I've played on quite a few Grammy now. As a matter of fact, I think I've played on, I think we played on the Margot Price song that's nominated this year in a maybe an
Right
Americana
on. Right on.
category.
Yeah.
It's coming up, though. I don't know when the Grammys are. It's soon, though.
I feel like February, first week of February,
That's
but
probably
I
about
could be
right.
wrong. Um,
Yeah, maybe it's
I know Boo's, I was talking to him, there's a couple that he's been a part of
I
that's gonna
can't
be on there.
remember what Boo did this year, because Boo actually, I don't wanna say 2 out of the last 3 years, he was involved in projects that won. Um, I think he engineered one and maybe produced one, I can't remember. He's got 2 or 3.
I don't know, is Sinners if he was a part of Sinners or not.
He was
Okay.
involved in Sinners. He was kind of a coordinator. He was kind of a go-to guy with Ryan Coogler called him for recommendations. Like, "I need somebody for this kind of role or to play this kind of music," and Boo would say, "Call this guy, call that guy." You know what I mean? So, Boo was kind of his connection in that area.
Such a great guy,
Yeah, I love Boo.
humble guy.
Love Boo. I think he's in Germany right now, actually.
Oh, is he really?
Well, the Memphis tourism people are doing
With the Grizzlies?
they're over there with the Grizzlies, but they're there's some kinda something opening over there. Maybe they're opening an office for Memphis Tourism, or maybe it's a nightclub or something. I can't remember. Kevin Kane was talking to me about it, and I can't remember specifically
Nice.
what he said because he was asking me, "Who should I take?" I want at first, he was talking about taking, like, a guitar player, singer, and I was like, "I don't know." "What about this guy?" "Yeah, he's great." "What about this guy?" "Yeah, he's great." I mean, come on. It's Memphis, you know?
Yeah.
Throw a baseball out the window and hit somebody that's good. So, I think Boo's over there with Kevin right now.
Awesome. Well, he's pretty, I think, connected with the chamber as well, and I know that the chamber's got a big.
He is. He's also very connected with the hospital, Regional 1. I think he's on the board, actually.
Okay, great guy.
Love Boo. Can't say enough great things about Boo. Boo calls me every time they need horns, so
Oh,
yeah.
does he really?
Oh my god. I've played on so many records over there, can't even imagine.
Do you still get awestruck when you walk in?
Not anymore, but it's I always like hearing someone's perspective who's never been there before because you forget that feeling you had the first time you saw it, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
it's
I
always
went home, I was like to my wife, because she knows how crazy I am about music. She goes, "How was it?" I go, "I don't even know what to say." I go, "I gotta take you there."
Yeah, yeah.
You just got
I
I don't even know
always
if you'd let me,
I'm
but you gotta
always
go.
I'm tempted to do that, and I know Boo well enough, I could probably call in that favor, but I have to be very
Yeah,
careful about
yeah.
who I'm gonna use it for. So I'm still saving it. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if my wife has walked in there.
Oh,
I gotta be honest with you. Well,
really?
because 'cause we're always working, you know, and you never know what you're walking into when you go in there.
Right.
Some of the time you know before we go, but, like, when we did the Silk Sonic thing, we walked in there deadpan, didn't know anything. There's no one there, there's no food, there's nothing. Because sometimes it's like a big thing, there's, like, cameras everywhere, lights, food set up, food spread, you know, they're taking pictures, filming while we're cutting and all kinds of stuff like that. And then sometimes you walk in there and there's a nobody, and you're like, "What is going on here?" "I can't tell you." "Okay." So we cut all this stuff. We lifted it from the recording they sent us, and then there's a 7-page NDA you have to sign. You know what I mean? And then by the time we got through reading the NDA, one of the guys that was cutting with us, Cameron Whalum, who plays with Bruno Mars, you know, says, "Come on, dude. You think I don't know who this is? Smeezington LLC. They literally put money in my bank account every week. I know who this is for." Boo's like, "Okay, you can't tell anybody, not even your wives." And we kept it under wraps, until the thing came out, till the record came out.
Very cool.
It did win a Grammy, that's correct, but it only won 1 Grammy. It coulda won a lot of Grammys, but the timing of the release of that record ended up being not good for the Grammys nominations because I think, Anderson .Paak had a vocal issue. He had to rest for 3 months, so they weren't quite finished. I think they released the first single in April, but they couldn't release the record until, like, September or something like that. So they missed, like, the deadline.
The window or whatever.
Right, so the single could be nominated, but the record couldn't be. By the time it came back around the next year, Bruno Mars, decided to withdraw the consideration for that record because he was on a new project. You know what I mean? He's like,
Interesting.
"I'm done with that. We're moving on." You know what I mean? New thing. So we could have won a lot more Grammys, but how can I have any bad blood about that?
No, not at all. Wow. That's something else. Is your wife into music? She's got to be into music.
No, well, of course she likes music.
But is she like,
She's not involved in it anyway.
okay. All right.
Anyway, and
Okay.
it works out really good for us.
Okay.
I know some people who have who do it differently, and I don't think I could do that,
Right. Right.
you know? And I don't
Does she
consequently
come see you?
tell
I mean,
her to her
she must.
business. Sure,
Yeah.
but not all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Family comes into town or something. Let's go.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
she had niece and, husband come in town over Thanksgiving, of course, they came out, you know what I mean?
So I even talked to Tracy about, or Tracy actually saw a photo of me downtown. Say, you got to go over see Kurt.
Yeah,
But we had like 19 people, and I was telling Tracy, I go, I don't know if I could coordinate 19 people.
That's a lot.
You know what I mean? To
That's a
roll up to BB King's.
that's a lot.
We didn't end up doing
19
that.
is a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda maybe need to call ahead on that one. We're coming in with 19 people.
So what's next?
Man, that's
Do you have things like you're like, okay, I want to do this before, I can't blow into the horn.
not really. I'm not a very goal-oriented person. I just find that if I let stuff unfold, it always works out
It
good
just
for me.
comes.
It works out good for me. So I don't think like that. In the past, I had thought, well, I want to make this kind of record. I want to make a record. I want to do this and the other. But I'm way past thinking about that anymore because I don't want to pay for it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to come out of my pocket 25 grand just to have something to give people that's basically a business card. You know what I mean? It's a vanity project at this point, and nobody is signing anybody, artist anymore, to make records. So who are you going to make a record with? Nobody's going to give you any money. Nobody's going to sign you and give you anything. So I've given up on that, thinking about that or worrying about that. If somebody comes up to me and says, "Okay, I got a $35,000 budget. I want to give you 35 grand, make a record." Easy, done, right? But what's the use? I mean, posterity?
Right.
I've
Okay.
played on so many records. I don't need that anymore.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can, Google that Kirk Smothers at allmusic.com and you'll get a fifth of what I've played on, if that. You know what I mean? So it's just not I feel like I've left plenty behind from when
Right.
I'm gone.
Right. Content.
Yeah,
Happy.
I'm good.
Mm.
And I don't know, I never know what's coming.
That's
I
cool.
gotta be honest with you. Sometimes I do. That's not totally true. Sometimes I'll no, this little project's cooking. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna
Right.
do that. But right now, I don't have anything on the radar that's like, this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be fun. But that phone,
That's it.
here comes a text. Next thing you know, you're at the studio working with, you know, somebody you always thought was cool.
So you just said something. Nobody's doing that anymore. Nobody's paying for that anymore. Nobody's making records like that anymore. Well, give me a little bit about what you mean by that. Like, what are they doing then?
Well, they're looking for the next, Taylor Swift and the kind of those kind of people like that. And that's through social media. That's with young people who have millions of followers.
Okay.
And they built up millions of followers by making little songs in their bedroom. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, this person's cute and this person can write a decent song and they can play a little guitar, they can sing, whatever. We can make a product out of that.
I got it.
Product, right? So they want that to make everything's about a product now. You know what I mean? Back in the day, they used to sign people who they thought were artists.
Believed in, yeah. Okay.
This person, okay, maybe they're not going to sell 10 million records, but everything now is about selling 10 million records.
Got it.
If they're going to put any money behind you. And the record labels, come on, man, they're not making any money anymore anyway. Who's making the money now? The streaming platforms. That's it. And they're barely paying out. It's really sad.
Oh, really? Did not know that.
Oh, I don't support those either.
Okay.
I'm not a supporter of streaming platforms.
I'm pretty close to cutting it off too,
If
because
I want to buy
I've
something,
got a really good collection of my own
I buy it.
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't mind spending money. If there's something I want, I buy it.
I've always said that. Even back in Napster days, I'm like, artists deserve to get paid. I have
Yeah.
no problem buying a cassette
Yeah.
tape, a CD,
it's-
or an
And
album.
especially how easy is it to buy something now? Oh, you heard a song you liked. Oh man, I'm going to get that song. It's $1.29. I think you can handle it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The record is $14 to download. You can handle it. Nobody's going bankrupt here and nobody's getting rich. Anyway, that's what I mean by that about the industry. It's just different. They're looking for a product now. They're looking for somebody they're always looking to hit a grand slam now. Used to be we'd be happy with a single. Oh, we hit a single there. Come on.
Right.
We broke even.
This is, I don't know. This might be one of those questions where it's like for another discussion, but is AI going to change that too? Because I'm hearing
it already is. Yeah.
There was hopefully I'm not speaking out of school, but I think 2 weeks ago, they put on an AI country song that went number one.
Number one. Yeah.
Is that like?
That's true.
Yes.
That's real.
That happened.
It's happening. A friend of mine was preparing for a session this week, and the guy sent him some tracks, some AI tracks. And he said he was dumbfounded how good the playing was. Now, I do want to talk about this for a second. I would like to talk about what I think AI is. And I think AI is theft because everything they do has been derived from something else and put together. So if AI is reading every book in the world, and so now they can pull out this one sentence from this book and one sentence from this book and put it together. Now it's got its own book. The same thing with music, right? It's coming from somewhere. And so in the beginning, when I first heard the AI stuff, I could immediately identify it. Oh, that's from this song. That's from that Garth Brooks song. That hook's from such and such. That's from Taylor Swift. That's from this or that. You know what I mean? But it's getting a lot better at it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's going to be a real problem. Now, what's not going to be a problem? People still love to see music and hear music live. That's never going to be a problem. But for people who make their living behind the scenes,
writers
that create, mainly writers, that create music and things like that, this is going to be a real problem.
Yeah. I think that's even Hollywood on a different sort of media is feeling that.
Now, it's big time coming for Hollywood. But here's the problem I have with it. Are we not going to address the fact that it's thievery?
Right.
And apparently everyone wants to put their head in the sand because there's so much money invested in AI globally that no one wants to address the truth about what it is. You know what I mean? So that's the part that interests me is where do we go from here? Where does this end up? Are we ever going to address this massive monster elephant in the room that's over in the corner? Or are we just going to let it go and say, okay, it's fair game. AI can steal from whoever that wants to steal from and recreate it in whatever form, and now it's new. Now, flip side of the coin for devil's, whatever you call it. Yeah, that's been happening forever. People have been stealing from each other forever.
Right.
You hear a song, I hear a song I like, and even unconsciously sometimes, you could steal from something if you're a songwriter or something like that. I've been learning licks from, a dozen different saxophone players over the last 40 years. I've adapted them and I've changed them, but I started by learning something that they learned. Who did they get it from? You know what I mean? Okay. Michael Brecker learned something from John Coltrane. John Coltrane learned something from Dexter Gordon. Dexter Gordon learned something from, Zoot Sims. I'm just making up stuff here, right? But it's not that has never, we don't borrow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like that when the human is involved in it, we figure out a way to make it ours.
Yeah, unique.
Yeah.
Do you think, so that's it, you just got my brain just kind of like going on this thing because I always wonder, and this is going to, if my kids were here, they go, Dad, you're sounding like old man now.
No.
Because I sometimes will say to my kids, they don't make good music anymore. Nobody writes and plays and it's just a bunch of crap. So I'll put that aside.
Yeah.
I wonder though, if, there's only so many notes.
There's only 11.
And I wonder is there a point where coming up with something original, there's got to be a mathematical equation that says at some point
we're done.
There's no way you can be original anymore.
We're done. Yeah. I think we're a long way from being there.
Yeah.
I think we're a very, very long way because I'm telling you right now, there are genres of music that have not been invented yet.
I haven't heard that before.
They haven't been invented.
Haven't heard that before.
In 1971, had anybody heard of rap?
Right.
It wasn't a thing.
Right.
There was no hip hop. It's the dominant genre of music now.
Right.
In 2026.
Yeah. That's a good point.
There are genres of music that have not yet been invented. Now, it may be some weird space stuff, 100 years from now that I can't predict or know about, because I definitely don't have my finger on the pulse of anything like that. But yes, you are correct in saying that the music business loves a formula. They love a formula. It works. This formula is working. Repeat, 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 Of course.
Until it doesn't work.
Until they're not making any money.
Right.
It's money,
and then
baby.
we go this way.
It's money. Everything is about money.
Right,
And the music business,
K-pop.
the music business is no different.
Got it.
And never will change. And at the same time, I don't want them to change.
Right. Well, I can tell you, because this is actually, I think, supporting the career path and what you do in terms of performing. I will never go to BB King's to see an AI machine.
That's my point.
It's never going to happen.
It's not going to kill. It's not going to kill what I do.
Right.
It is going to hurt a lot of people in the industry that do different jobs from what I do. And I'm very sympathetic, and I hope that one day we can figure out a way for whatever's being derived from something to be recognized and properly compensated. And I do think we will figure out a way to do that. And I think it's going to involve AI.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I think, okay, you got your AI creating what I used to create. Okay, well, I'm going to create AI that
finds copyright infringement.
That's right. That finds every copyright infringement that you've just made.
Yep.
And by the way, there's 1,000 of them in this one song.
Right.
It's going to be hard, though.
Right on, man.
And especially when there's that much money in it. But, if there's money on both sides, now we got something to talk about.
Well, man, I know we can keep going.
No, I'm good.
But I feel like, we're at a good point.
Yeah,
we're at a good point.
I think we're at a good point. Come on, man. We got all the way to AI.
That's pretty good, right?
We started in we started in 1976, and then we've made it to AI.
Right. July 5th, 1976.
That's right.
That's right. I'll remember that.
We made it to AI.
Well, Kirk, I appreciate you, and Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sat in. I love it. I love it.
Get her
How did we do? Did we go off the rails anywhere? All right. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. We'll do it again.
All right.
All right.
Next
Peace.
time. All right. Take care.